Brutal move for Bitcoin, for crypto, but depends what chart you're on. This is a 4-hour. This is a 6-hour. I'm sorry. This is a 6-hour chart. And I actually want to do short-term technical analysis in this video on Bitcoin, on the move that is happening. It's a big crash. I don't know if anyone else is live covering this move right now, but I'm committed as a content creator across these cycles to tracking the big moves. When we go parabolic, I track those moves live. When we crash, I track those moves live. It's something that I enjoy doing because over the cycles, we know what the zoomed out looks like. And what's happening right now, depending if you're zoomed in or zoomed out, is something that has happened countless times before. I see a comment out there about manipulators. I 100% agree. There's a lot of manipulation going on. But even with that, the move that we're in right now it's a commonplace move for crypto. I don't know what's going on YouTube. I was just talking to my wife about it. I'm in my Discord. I'm on X. Everywhere I look, like there's a little bit of, like some people bummed out, but YouTube is a different dynamic. And I've been doing YouTube videos for over 7 years in terms of sentiment. I'm talking about sentiment. You can look at the chats here. You can look at the comments of my last video I just did like an hour ago. It's a weird thing. And part of me thinks, I don't know. But either way, enough rambling. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. If you're a replay viewer, please hit the timestamps. I'll try and put some timestamps. And let's just kind of like try and digest what's going on here from so many different things. I have a lot that I want to go over. And let's start. I think I just want to say something in terms of my sentiment. This was July 4th, 2024. Crypto fear surges. Why this is bullish. So that's kind of a title that I would probably like to put in this video, but the negative sentiment right now probably would not be able to handle that. But the thing I want to point out is you can see this is crypto tanking when I did that video. But this comment, the fact that you spread this false narrative that crypto is going up is ridiculous. Look at that failure and collapse. I'm not trying to highlight any type of negativity, but I'm trying to make a point here. This happened on July 4th, 2024. If we actually go look at that area, this yellow line back here is when I posted that video, okay? So you can just see we had some bottoming out to do before kind of that next leg up, but fear was surging. And this is something that I've been talking a lot about lately is fear surging here, and we're in this massive dip, and there's a lot of negativity. But I just want to say, my focus here is to follow the data, and I even just posted. I mean, I don't know if I have the post up. Here it is. Extremely smart people that I follow are bullish. Even right now, even as you're watching this live stream, they're bullish. They're just hanging out. They're just kicking their feet. They're kicking their feet up on the desk, hanging out. The anons and bots on YouTube are crying about a bear market. This, to me, says a lot. And I want to go just through a few little pieces, and then we're going to dive into the charts as kind of we get warmed up and we get some people in here. So if you're in the chat, please smash the like button. I realize majority of you that actually are here, you're just watching silently. I get that. But the sentiment is something that really just, it's so interesting. And I was just talking to my wife about it. But again, some very smart people, a lot of smart people, they're not calling it quits right now, everybody. I just want to say that. Here's Zuby. He's not always putting out these takes. He doesn't talk about Bitcoin all the time. But my thoughts on Bitcoin, if you're panicking because it crashed to 85,000, then you do not understand what you're holding. Control your emotions. Don't be a wet wipe. Come on, Zuby. Thank you. Wolf of All Streets. Reminder 2. And data-driven post, right? This is actually from March 2024, interestingly enough. Here's a chart of the meaningful corrections in the run up to 69,000 in 2021. Boom, boom, boom. You see all those massive dips. This was March 2024. And he's just reposting that because this is where we are right now. We're in another kind of dip. And the fear is incredible. Anthony Pompliano, Bitcoin's crashing to 82,000. Think about this, everybody. Bitcoin crashed into $82,000. We dreamed of this day years ago. We dreamed of this day years ago. If you really think about it, it blows my mind that many of you were here. It feels like yesterday I was doing videos right here at 3,000 to 4,000. And I almost kicked myself for not even just accumulating way more and buying way more. But look how far we've come. We're literally dipping not to 3,000. This is a dip to the 80s. And not only so, it's a beautiful technical move. And that's something I want to talk about in this video. It really is a phenomenal technical move that is happening right now. But it continues. Here's Mike Alfred. I have a couple of Mike Alfred. Pay close attention to and note the people who flip bearish this week based on price action. After being bullish previously, these people are the most destructive to your portfolio. Avoid them at all costs. Per usual, they will pretend it never happened when we're higher again. One more from Mike. When the real Bitcoin bull market actually gets going, it will be breathtaking. While we wait, I'm going to keep adding value in the real world instead of whining, flipping bearish, or doom posting. There are a lot of people on here who should consider doing the same. I'm reading that, and I just want to bring that up just to all of you guys, because I never like dips either, okay? Like, I realize that I try and come on here, I'm positive, but when it's dipping, I'm texting my people, you know, my friends, whoever. Like, I don't enjoy it either. But I'm bringing this post up because you have two options, and this is just in life in general, not just crypto. But it's very important when you're managing your finances with crypto. You have two options. You can go on YouTube while you're laying in your bed in the dark, and you can find somebody optimistic and positive and just hate them for it and complain about it and cry about it. Or you can shift your entire mindset and figure out how to capitalize in the crypto space. And I'm saying that with complete love to all of you guys, even the negative comments. I get it. You're frustrated and stuff, but I'm telling you, shift your emotion, step out of that negativity, and figure out a plan to navigate through. And really, the plan for me, it's all based on data. Like my videos, I know I put some clickbait titles out there sometimes, but really it's just data that we track, right? I interject my opinion, obviously my sentiment, but much of it based on data. What is funny is the SEC just dropping Coinbase lawsuit. And it's funny because we're seeing crypto crash right now on a day that this is happening. And if you remember when SEC went after Coinbase, it's like it was crashing then. So you would think SEC drops the case, you would think we'd bounce, but that's not what's happening here. So here's Wolf of Wall Street again, because it's just a nice segue, I would say, to the technical analysis. We're going to look at charts, and that's kind of what I want to do. But Bitcoin 4 hour, bullish divergence, still building after the hidden bearish divergence I was watching for. This could fail, obviously, but RSI is holding up well. If you've been following me for years, it's my favorite signal when confirmed oversold RSI with bullish divergence building over multiple time frames. And I agree. I would guess it's his favorite because if you start zooming out on the charts and looking, and we do this, we look at all of these times where certain time frames get crazy overbought. Right? So let me just go to here's a 6 hour, right? So when you dissect what's happening here, and then you start going back and looking at like all of the times it's happened, right? So here's that bullish divergence he's talking about. Price absolutely just getting destroyed. You can see the price, really getting destroyed. Look at this. That's some bullish divergence right there. But when you start zooming out, and then you're like, man, this 6 hour chart, last time we were actually this oversold. So here we are, crazy oversold. Last time we were literally this oversold was the bottom, actually, it was the bottom capitulation of Bitcoin in that last consolidation. Do you understand the fear that was here? It's almost identical to the fear that is here now. And we have comments like this. I encourage this person that's commenting this, like, are you watching the video, the data that I'm talking about right now? Are you looking at the bullish divergence? Are you looking at how we've been in this fear environment and you're just crying about Trump? It's not a good idea to do that. It really is not. Let's talk about what's going on with Bitcoin. I don't mean to be like, I don't mean to say this in this environment where it's like crashing and stuff, but crazy cool that we are revisiting this area. This is a clip from December. There's a case, especially because how big this pattern is, this inverse head and shoulders. We get the breakout, and then we're needing to consolidate, a throwback to the pattern itself, a throwback to the neckline. This technical move might lead to a multi-week, it could even be a multi-month, just consolidation, a dip. And I want to say, that is not me just predicting that. I'm just saying from a technical, just strictly technical perspective, this is in play. So this is something we've constantly been tracking whether or not this is going to happen. We had this awesome breakout out of that inverse head and shoulders. And for the last months, right, this is from December 9th, we've been tracking if that is going to happen. This move back into the 80s, I think, did it hit the 70s yet? Has been the foundation to my analysis on this YouTube channel for months now. And so, you know, if you want to sit out there and say that my analysis has constantly been wrong and I'm always so wrong because I'm a macro bull and we're not seeing 2,000% gains yet or overnight, that's fine. But if we're looking at the data for what it is, this move, I don't want to sit here and say it's awesome that it happened, but the normalcy of it is very clear as day, right? Inverse head and shoulders, technical move. And in my analysis, like on the short-term charts, we track all these patterns. And we always see throwbacks, not always, but often we see throwbacks to the patterns. We see pullbacks to the patterns. And this is one of those cases. Now, this is a weekly chart zoomed out. So what we're looking for, and then we can kind of dig back into the charts on the short term. What we're looking for is the neckline, right? So neckline in the 80,000 area just below it. So dipping into the 70s, even, you know, tonight, I don't know what price action is going to do. It looks like we dipped into the 79 area. But if we're dipping into the 70s, I think this is such a crucial time to watch, to keep your eye on Bitcoin and altcoins. And we're going to talk about altcoins in this video. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance. Last I checked, doing a very interesting thing. But right now on the weekly, here's probably the biggest thing I'm watching on the macro. I know I talk about zoom out, everybody, check where we are, check where we are. I will say the 50-week moving average is important, right? I might change my tone, I will say. People are annoyed at me because I'm just bullish, even in a dip like this. I'm bullish in a dip like this. I'm bullish in a dip like this. I have my thoughts of where we are in the cycle, with where we are with narratives and fundamentals. I think we're in a very bullish atmosphere. People can be frustrated with my opinion of that. If we break and start closing weekly candles below the 50-week moving average, you will probably hear me start changing my tune. But we're not there, and it could totally be tested. I mean, the 50-week moving average was actually tested in this move that we just looked at on the 6-hour chart. If you remember, we were just comparing kind of the last time Bitcoin was as oversold as it is right now. It was right here at that low. So on the 6-hour chart, this is what that move looked like. And you can see it was total fear, total capitulation, and absolute crazy oversold. And we're in like such a similar area. Now, going back to the weekly, just by the way, on the 6-hour, this is that weekly 50-week moving average move right there, down to like $49,000, $50,000. So back to the weekly, you can just see right there. That's that move, that crazy wick. Now, we have 2 days, 21 hours left of this weekly candle. It would be amazing to have just a weekly candle that looks like that. And notice we kind of retouched down again, right? But I don't know how this weekly candle will close, but it is important because the 50-week is right around 74, 75,000. The neckline is kind of like $77 to $80,000. So that entire range even on the short term, like what's this week going to do? Is a weekly candle going to interact with those 2 price points? Is something I'll be watching. We were keeping an eye on the potential for the break to the neckline. I wasn't immediately talking about, hey, in the short term, let's see how these areas hold. But now we're really there. We're hovering above that area. So that's Bitcoin on the weekly. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention on the weekly, I saw DZ over there on his channel on X talking about this. It really is kind of up in the air, right? The bearish divergence that's playing out right here. You can see the lower high on the RSI, lower high on the RSI right here. So this is a macro bearish look. It definitely is. And you can see this kind of was like the top of the last bull market. One thing I want to just point out in that regard, and then we're going to look at something else, is that was historically like that's over 500 days after the Bitcoin halving, kind of in between halvings, kind of at that moment where it would top out, right? Right now, time frame wise, we're not there. We're like just over 300 days. And the other thing is this. We can never just use one indicator as an indicator because there was basically bearish divergence right here for Bitcoin after kind of escaping the bear market. Did Bitcoin just go into some new bear market? No, it continued higher. And then there was actually some bearish divergence all the way back. And this is probably more comparative to where we are right now in the cycle. There was bearish divergence here on the weekly chart. Did Bitcoin see like kind of a double top, right, in 2017 and then just enter a bear market or something? No. So we have to be careful, I think, that just using one RSI, one data point. But if you look at it, we have a lot of data to look at. And some of that data is on-chain data. Here's a post, bounce, Bitcoin bounce. This is realized profit loss ratio. So check this out. Just if you look at BTC price in black, and you look at these bottoms previously, like September, back here, I don't know, when is that? August type of area, 2024, an area that we were just looking at on these charts. When this is getting into this range, we and this is just data, okay? This isn't me saying it's definitely going to bounce and we're going to bounce out of here. But historically, going back to January 2024, it's bounced. This has been like a bottoming out range. That's one piece of on-chain metrics. And then the other thing is Bitcoin selling getting exhausted. Traders are now sitting on 12% unrealized loss margins, a level that has coincided with local bottoms during this bull market. Still, the price can range trade by 3 to 4 months. And this was a big point I wanted to just point out. We could range sideways for a while after this margin level is reached, but just check it out. Here's that bottoming out we just were looking at on the 6 hour, and you can see the profit loss margin and the similar indicators that are playing out here compared to what we just entered. So that's a bottoming out range for Bitcoin. Back here is a bottoming out range for Bitcoin in, 2023. And even back here is a bottoming out range for Bitcoin 2022, right? Before price finally recovering, going to the next swing high. And so this has been a continued story. So that on-chain metrics is, I think, very telling. Large investors, I think this is probably just important for anybody that's in retail trying to get their finger on the pulse of what's going on here. Because I will tell you one thing, sprinkled into all the analysis I'm doing and other people are doing, whether you're bullish or bearish, I'll tell you one thing that I think there's a ton of manipulation. There's always been a lot of manipulation, but I think there's a ton of manipulation happening in this cycle that we've not seen before. I was telling my wife, like I uploaded this video, and it is what it is. I uploaded this video like an hour or 2 hours ago. I don't know if you were aware or saw it, but I uploaded the video, just kind of a general macro video of where we are on the cycle, kind of bullish, macro-wise, minutes after I uploaded. This is when the price just absolutely crashed. I don't want to sit here and be like, take credit like I'm some important content creator that markets are moving based, like, you know, market makers are just watching me and they're going to, but the thing about it, and this is what I was talking to Sarah about, this happens to me like all of the time this cycle, and this has never been the case. And Sarah was literally, we were just in the kitchen. She's like, it's like becoming not a coincidence at this point because this always happens. Even people in the Discord were just like, there he goes again. It happened again. It keeps happening. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds there, but like, it makes me wonder, like, are market makers leveraging content creator, the timing of content to just trigger these like these large scale liquidations? And the other odd thing, and it's only on YouTube, the other odd thing is, I've been doing videos for over 7 years, and I've never seen, sometimes retail in the comments, they get a little bit like bummed out and there's some negativity out there, but I'll upload a video and it is automatic. Like, you can look at the comments on my last video, automatic. Like, nobody's watching the video. It's just automatic negativity to the extreme. And it looks so body. I know there's real people out there that are frustrated and they're posting negative, but it looks like bots. And I'm just like, are market makers absolutely just on this campaign to just destroy price and sentiment for, and I'm getting somewhere here, for big investors to get into crypto? Because my thesis, and the thesis of many people, is, you know what? There's going to be choppy waters. It's going to be tough. There's going to be big dips. But crypto has never looked so bullish. There are things happening right now that are setting up for, like, and I'm talking like multi-cycle. If we can zoom out for a moment, and who wants to get in on that? It's big money. Oftentimes retail is like, give me that 1,000% pump in 2 months or a week. That's what I want. There's a lot of people here that want that. But big money, they're not thinking like that. Big money could care less about this cycle. They want as cheap of crypto this cycle as possible, now that we're getting all this deregulation and all of this crypto innovation is coming to US. And by the way, everybody, US power play is in play. There's all this hate talk about Trump, and, you know, I'm a fan of Trump's policies and the administration right now, because I am. I'll say it absolutely. What's happening right now is going to be some short-term pain for long-term gain, but there's some very powerfully good things happening, and it's only going to be bullish for crypto as so much crypto innovation and money just comes into the US. And so I just think big money wants to get into this. And look at the data. Large investors are accumulating while retail is panic selling. And so this is a piece of data to pay attention to. And this stuff is what I look at. I'm not trying to sit here and convince you to be bullish for like my own purpose. If you want to be bearish or bullish, it's completely up to you. It has no effect on me. But I'm sharing with you all of this, like all of these pieces of data, and I'm just trying to explain from a multi-cycle perspective, zoomed out, like the opportunity, even within this high fear dip, the opportunity I think we have. And so just look at the chart. Retail is in purple, absolutely capitulating if you just look at this, right? And large investors in red doing the exact opposite. This isn't an opinion. This is large investors buying from all of the people and the negative people in my comments that are like crying and whining about things. That's what's happening. I'm not trying to say that in like a negative tone or be rude or anything, but that's compelling to me that that's what's happening right now. And it's happening it's happening excessively. So interestingly enough, if you look at that red line, the large investors accumulating, you can see kind of in that August 2024 dip, that uptick of large investors starting to accumulate, right? And look how they were accumulating, and it was kind of sideways, and then price kind of took off. And so it really makes you wonder what's going to happen after this accumulation. So that's a data point that I just wanted to kind of point out to you. So that was Bitcoin. We have the inverse head and shoulders neckline reversal in case you missed it. I'm not going to show a clip again, but this is exactly the move we've been talking about since this video back in December, and now it's playing out. So on the weekly chart, what's important to me would be the 50-week moving average around 75,000, and the neckline is like 77, 80,000, depending on how you're going to draw that neckline. And we're there. So how this week ends, going to be very interesting. One thing I do want to just point out is a lot of people are talking about the 200-day moving average. Now, just looking at this isn't like for me that moment where if it doesn't hold, if we close a daily candle below, it's game over. Maybe for some people it is. But again, it's the weekly chart and the 50-week moving average, which is I would say important. But who knows? Now that I'm saying that, right? What are the market makers going to do? But putting that aside, point is 200-day moving average. If we go back to and look at August, what was it doing? It was absolutely capitulating below that 200-day moving average, all the moving averages, and it wasn't like some, bear market trigger. It recovered eventually. And then lastly, just want to point out one more time, in case you missed it, that bullish divergence. Here it is on the 6 hour right now, bullish divergence. Going to be interesting to go to bed tonight and see what we wake up to tomorrow. I don't know. 4 hour chart, bullish divergence. And just look how crazy oversold. We just compared this oversold to August, and there it is again on the 4 hour, just to kind of give you a sense. And we might be in store for this volatility. If you look at Bitcoin, look, crazy oversold here. Get all this nice bounce, 54,000 up to 70,000. And then boom, even lower, down to 50,000 again. We might get moves like that right now, right? Even this one, 50,000, all right, we're cruising back up, 65, boom, 53. So my point in saying that is we're hitting really nice technical targets. I mean, even out of that range that we were in, we're hitting kind of like a target. Probably needs to go a little bit lower. The neckline of the inverse head and shoulders on the weekly multi-year neckline, just hitting all these incredible targets. Maybe there's a bounce and we could just be choppy, right? And it's going to be brutal. It's going to be absolutely brutal tracking these markets if that's going to be the case. But it will be nothing new. So that's the zoomed in 4 hour. That's the 6 hour. And real briefly, I do want to take a glance at daily. So we just made a note of the 200-day moving average. And the 200-day moving average also overbought. I'm sorry, not overbought. It's oversold like crazy. So oversold. Interestingly enough, the 4 hour and 6 hour were kind of hitting that similar oversold as August 2024. Look at this one. This is even lower. This is similar to September 2023. And before that, really, the last one would be that bear market capitulation. I don't know what was going in. I don't have the date off my top of my head, but what was that? That was either like SEC, FTX, Celsius, something. So just to give you an idea, we are incredibly oversold right now. How are we doing out there, everybody? That's not bad. That's not bad. We got over 6,000 people in here. Thanks for the super chat, Wendell. I think it's time for Dan to get back into Litecoin, surely. Got to be near the bottom. Thanks for the super chat. Hey, I think it's going to be a good cycle for Litecoin. I do. Thanks for the comments, everybody. I really do. I appreciate it. I love it. Here's the thing. I know this because on other channels, I'm a silent commenter. I don't sit around commenting on channels, but silent majority is here with you, Dan. We just don't care enough to comment. Hope you and your family are blessed. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. I completely get it. Trust me. I really do. But again, such good data with the sentiment. I mean, I'm done complaining about it. I think that was wrong of me, and that's something I've corrected. But I have to absolutely focus on it because it's incredibly good data. to look at sentiment. So that's Bitcoin. Now here's the deal. Bitcoin dominance. On the daily, a little bit of green, right? But, and maybe it's going to just absolutely explode. I don't know. But very interesting to watch Bitcoin dominance as crypto markets, because again, if you go to something like the daily chart, Bitcoin's really been falling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And Bitcoin dominance, you know, and this could correct itself. So I'm not trying to say this is the bullish indicator happening right now. We need to monitor this. But so far for the last 5 days, it's not like Bitcoin dominance has absolutely just exploded, right? And that's interesting. Even on the short term, you can see during this current crash that we're in, Bitcoin dominance kind of sideways. Now that I'm saying that, let's see what happens. But that's something I'm absolutely going to just keep tracking, because it's obviously hugely important for altcoins. And then, as you know, we've tracked it a lot, is the bearish divergence on the Bitcoin dominance chart. So that's something to keep in mind. So bearish divergence, we're obviously a little bit diverged from last cycle in terms of the time frame of it. But I will point out, kind of like a bearish divergence at the top of Bitcoin dominance last cycle, sooner than at this time this cycle, but still very similar move so far. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I got completely faked out with this move right here. Too synergistic and on point with the 2 previous cycles that we just had, even in terms of time frame. And I really did use that as a very bullish indicator for altcoins. And you can see what happened. We're diverging away from that timeline, and it's interesting. But what's also interesting is we are getting a very similar bearish divergence now at this swing high. So let's continue to monitor that. I really do think cycles are slowly changing in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of altcoins and all that good stuff. But here's total crypto market cap now down around 29%. 29%. To give you context to that, because I know we've been talking a lot about the August 2024 move on all the charts really for Bitcoin. That move was actually a 38% move for total crypto market cap. So alts holding well in this drop. Usually they just drop hard. Agreed. What's going to be interesting though is like everybody's noticing that now. And I feel like that's what's weird this cycle. When everybody starts noticing something and talking about it, the opposite happens. So now everybody on X and on YouTube is going to start, you know, talking about that. And it's going to be like the opposite. Bitcoin dominance is going to absolutely explode. Altcoins are going to get wrecked. All righty. So that's Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin dominance. This is completely what I was just talking about. Institutions will use any and all tools to get as much of the assets as possible, shaking everyone out. Part of the playbook for them. I just completely think that, man. And it's crazy because now we're in a space where crypto is incredibly manipulated before institutions are here. And just imagine the greed, these big money players and what they will, the length that they will go to, I would say, to accumulate at cheaper prices. I just think it's massive manipulation. But I don't know. I'm not here as like a short-term swing trader, so I'm not going to sit here and all of these things that happen, all of these dips that just always happen over the years and cycles and just get shaken out. You know what I mean? It's just not my approach, which is why when I'm doing videos in these dips, it's just like, you're not going to get that from me. Like, hey guys, time to exit crypto. Like, I'll talk to you and I'll start, I'll see you guys in the next cycle or something. That's not how I'm in crypto at all. One thing I will say is, I mentioned this in a previous video, is I do think it's incredibly important to have a profit-taking plan, right? So what that looks like for everybody is completely different. So have a profit-taking plan, which I do, but I'm not like trying to exit all of my exposure from crypto right now is crazy. It's crazy to even think about that with what is happening right now. And those things will be easier for me to talk about. You know, maybe we get some action like this or something, and maybe it'll be easier for me to talk about further into spring when markets are bouncing. I don't know. But if I'm doing videos in an environment like this, it will be easier for me to talk about. People will be able to digest what I'm saying better. Because when we're in these crashes, it's not well received by a lot of people. But here we are, 29%. What I thought was interesting about the chart was if you go back, right, and this is total crypto market cap chart, everything. So below 3 trillion, barely broke all-time high from last cycle. But if you go back to the last bull market, if I zoom out, and really previous bull markets, just look at the bull market. There's a lot going on here on my chart. I realize it, all these dips that happen all the time and all that. But what I want to note is like all the price action in the bull market, and then just look at this lower trend line, really. But just look at all that separation there. And then even the previous bear market, or I'm sorry, just bull market, right? Look at all the separation here. What's interesting to me is when you look at that, it's like, look at it just like hopping up, like just bobbling up, slow and steady. That's like such a good like representation of how different this cycle is. I mean, we wondered how the cycle will look, right? Even just exiting the bear market, for instance, looked very, very similar to previous cycles. And then it's just like, what is this? You know, what are these moves? All this 8-month consolidation. What was that in a bull market or the beginning of a bull market? What was that? That's completely brand new. Hobbling down back to that lower trend line and then bouncing. And then look, if you just look, we're just so close to that lower trend line again. It's just interesting market structure. It's different. And, you know, that's new data that we'll just have to track on these charts, but that's total crypto market cap. Let's go and look at altcoins now. So this is others, excluding top 10, has not even broken last cycle high, right around 490 billion or so. It's incredible. And this is where I start being like, I just do not think that I agree. You held till now and you're going to sell now. I agree. That's a hard thought. Hard to even think about that. So in terms of altcoins, there's so much bullishness for altcoins. I'm not going to go over all the headlines. I don't have them up. I don't have the tabs open, but I've been talking about them nonstop. But there's so much opening up for crypto space and for these projects, and especially blue chip projects, blue chip altcoins. They are, in my opinion, completely crazily undervalued. I'm thinking of something like Chainlink, Cardano, Ethereum. And I'm just looking at this. I'm like, I just do not think, and I know those are blue chips, but this is excluding top 10. I just don't think an altcoin bull market is over. I don't think this is what it looked like, not even breaking all-time high. And if you go to Ethereum, for instance, and we're going to actually look at Ethereum, but Ethereum hasn't even broken spring 2024 highs, let alone all-time high. I just don't think the Ethereum chart actually looking kind of scary right now. We're going to look at it. There's the Ethereum chart. I just don't think it's over for altcoins. And I guess a question I ask myself is like, what if it just gets bad? Like, even if it's just choppiness, like maybe a little lower and choppy and sideways, and then all of a sudden we get like quantitative easing, right? Something just phenomenal is happening in terms of the effects of these policies being implemented right now. Quantitative easing, dollar starts falling. What happens if all of a sudden, like, markets turn back on, and this happens What if markets turn back on in a week? But I'm just saying, even in 2 months, right? It's going to be pain. What happens? Like, why would you not want exposure to that? Why would you not just want to endure the pain, the rainy day that we are in right now, just to get to that moment? Because I think that moment is coming, and nobody knows the timing of it. There's just speculation across the board in terms of when it's going to happen. But that's the way that I'm thinking about this, is kind of that long-term thought. I want to take a glance at the US dollar. I think it's been making a little bit of a move. And this is something I'm very curious to see how this plays out. And again, Trump last term, Trump this term is not a guarantee, but I'm extremely curious. And I've been talking about this, I don't know, from somewhere back here. And this fractal from last cycle kind of playing out, right? We could revisit 108, 109 maybe, like bouncing up. But I'm just very curious, everybody. But what if this starts happening? Dollar starts falling. Wars are ending. Peace deals are being made. Ukraine-Russia war is over. Dollar's falling. America's getting its groove back, not taken advantage by all these other countries. Crypto innovation is just absolutely about to have its explosive, just incredible breakout. What happens? And that could be sooner than later. What happens? I want to be here for that. That's all. Hey, Dan, at what price would you invalidate a continuation of the bull market for Bitcoin and ADA? Thanks, and keep up, brother. Thanks, dude, for the comment. I think right now the biggest thing that would probably trigger me to start really thinking about it and doing probably more analysis on it would be the weekly chart, which we were talking about. If you've been watching my videos really for months, you know that the throwback right now that's happening to me, and the way that I do my analysis over the years, to me is normal. But that 50-week moving average is important, around 75,000. If we start closing weekly candles below that, then I'm going to need to start kind of like looking at things a little bit more deeply. But that's probably the price point. Thanks for the super chat and the hilarious comment. Should I delete all my crypto apps and wake up later? I don't know, but that sounds like a good idea, honestly. I haven't even looked at my portfolio. So, ADA. I mean, I don't know if there's any sense to do ADA video. I just literally, or ADA segment, but I just uploaded an ADA video. It's a shame too, because it was a good one. And I think it's getting some negative press because price is crashing. But really we're talking about, one of the things we were talking about was kind of like the ETF era for ADA, and very similar. And if you watch the video, I'm sorry, but very similar to the Bitcoin ETF era, which was kind of like where we were saying July back here, right here, like all these ETFs being filed all of a sudden right around here. And then if you remember January 2024 getting approved, right? So that whole era for Bitcoin. And while that was happening, as a reminder, Bitcoin was down big. I mean, Bitcoin's down over 60% while all that bullishness was happening. And so it's cool. And this is what my video was about. I imagine a lot of you haven't even seen it, but it's cool that Cardano is kind of in its own new ETF era. And I think there's no better time than to be oversold. It's entering oversold, not on the weekly, obviously, but just on these shorter time frames. There's no better time to be oversold and entering that era than right now. And so even if you actually look at this, now that we're just looking at the charts, ADA, and it's a good time to do a price update. ADA really just seeing bullish divergence as well, even on the daily so far. I don't know how this, we have 20 hours left of the daily candle. I don't know how it's going to play out, but so far looking pretty good in terms of the higher low on the RSI right here. Will it play out? Let's see how the daily candle closes. You can never sit here and just guess when there will be a bounce. But one thing I think I mentioned in the video was I think there will be a bounce soon. I think the area for me to watch for a bounce for ADA will be the moving averages, the 50 and the 20. So that range right there. I'm just saying, not like it's going to happen right now, today, tomorrow, but like pulling into that range would be the next most normal thing for ADA price action. And that is around 75, currently 75 to 85 cents. Now, if ADA keeps ranging or going lower, these moving averages will go down with it. So that range will move down with it. But as always, I'm waiting for the bounce to test those areas. And the confirmation, any type of bullish confirmation, would be to start closing candles above those moving averages. That's kind of what I'm watching for in terms of ADA. But the other thing I want to mention in terms of ADA, and then I'll look at other altcoins, is this. That wick swing low. We've been talking about it since the capitulation. I feel like all month of February has just been like capitulation. There's a nice bounce out of it. But if you remember, we were tracking that capitulation and we were saying, you know what, where's the higher low going to be? So swing low to swing high. It was almost guaranteed we weren't just going to exit that capitulation and just start going up again. It's almost guaranteed. It just, if you look at any of these charts, Bitcoin, ADA, anything, when we get capitulation, it's just usually either sideways, more sideways, or down, right? So who knows how this one will play out, this capitulation that happened right here. But absolutely the best guide, I would say, for me is that Fibonacci. So to take a look at what that looks like, it's that range right there. And we've been talking about this. So the fact that ADA is within that range right now is not like this big surprise. 63 cents to 57 cents to me is kind of like, okay, it's not a surprise. You go back here to this capitulation. Again, we're comparing August, which is so interesting. Swing low capitulation. Oh, it's over. No, it's not over. Where did it revisit? A higher low Fibonacci. And it really just kept testing all along those moving averages. But there is that move, right? So we're in a very similar move right now in terms of capitulation into a higher low. No guarantee it holds, by the way. The Fibonacci is not like steel, like, you know, it's not crash proof. So, but it is a range to keep an eye on, at least, especially for a bounce, maybe to those moving averages. So that's really what I'm watching for ADA on the short term. And before we go look at Ethereum, I do want to look at ADA on the 4 hour, just kind of curious. We saw Bitcoin on the 4 hour. See how oversold we are. So I feel like Bitcoin was even more oversold on the 4 hour. If we go back to the Bitcoin chart, let me just see. Kind of curious. Which would explain the shorter term Bitcoin dominance. Yeah. So Bitcoin 17 on that RSI on a 4 hour. And ADA 21. So that kind of gives you a sense. And then if we go to a 6 hour, probably a little bit even more, even less. But there's our August area. Such a similar area. It's not the same, not exact, but such a similar area it seems in terms of sentiment. But you can see that was around 18. And then a quick glance on the 6 hour. Yeah, nothing too intriguing on the 6 hour. Although if you look at this, barely keeping that higher low. So really going into overnight is going to be interesting. Is it going to be very interesting to see how these altcoins move? What's Bitcoin dominance doing? It's like doesn't know what it wants to do. Ethereum. Crazy. Dude, $50 Super chat, Jeremy. Appreciate that, man. That's so unnecessary. Would love for you to TA the graph. If not, no biggie. Thanks for all your insights and positive vibes. Man, I don't know. I definitely don't have that chart up. I have to go find that. I appreciate that super chat, man. That means a lot, dude. Did not have to do that. I'm going to definitely bring up the chart. I don't know how good the analysis will be, though, because I'm not familiar at all. Although, definitely familiar with with that symbol, though, because I feel like from a social media perspective, it is just all over the place. What would help is sometimes TradingView shows me the market cap and sometimes it doesn't. What's the market cap of that? It's definitely a top 50, right? Absolutely. It's number 69. So it's $1 billion market cap. So let me actually, while I have that chart up, I want to bring up also Ethereum. I think Ethereum is a nice anchor point for all charts, especially when you're doing analysis on a chart you're not too familiar with, because I'm really just not familiar with that chart. But let's zoom out on the weekly. Let's go to the weekly on graph, and then we'll look at the daily. So my general thought, like when I'm just looking at these, right? This is one of those altcoins that hasn't broken March 2024 swing highs, and currently is down from that swing high around 70-some%. This is one of those coins where it's just like, these are especially one of those coins. When you hold an altcoin like this, at least like if I held an altcoin like this, I want Ethereum to absolutely explode. Because I think the charts that are very similar to Ethereum, and obviously Ethereum's not down. How much is Ethereum down since that swing high? Ethereum's down almost 50%. So, something like Graph getting probably a lot of hate. People are probably like, it's done, it's over, 77%. A lower cap, $1 billion market cap coin down 70-some%. Ethereum's down 50%. The reason why, like, if I was to sit here and say, you know what, I have cash I want to put into Ethereum or Graph right now, because I think there's going to be an explosive bull move, right? Maybe we go lower and we test bear market lows. Maybe we don't. At this point, this chart will outperform Ethereum. I think if we get a bull market, we'll outperform Ethereum, because for me, a lot of that is kind of based off of if Ethereum, and I know this chart looks absolutely terrible, by the way, but you can see it's breaking out of this triangle. We've been talking about it a lot. If Ethereum manages to actually recover from this and put in a busted pattern, and we enter just an insane spring and summer for crypto, and it is 100% in play. I know there's a lot of people that will disagree, but if that happens, this chart will outperform Ethereum, right? So even, to all-time high, it's 2,400%, right? All-time high for Ethereum is 120%. So that's my thoughts in terms of like approaching coins like this. And I'm not like giving financial advice or anything, but really, truly, I've seen this over the cycle. I've missed so many plays like this exact one. But if we get a bull cycle, we could look back on this chart and be like, man, this was like the absolute best time to buy. Same here. Probably a lot of fear. It's over. Same here. Every swing low on this chart. And what's kind of cool about this chart right now is like, it could fall to this previous swing low back here. At that moment, altcoins will be so oversold. Like they'll be in bear market territory again. So it's like, 25, 30% to the downside and you're in that territory, way better to buy there, right? Than back here. And now you're down right now 60, 70%. And I think a lot of the frustration is a lot of people did buy back here. I will say this, and I don't know how this will play out. I'm not shilling an altcoin. I'm answering a question about an altcoin I don't even own, Jeremy. But I don't know how this will play out. But I just wouldn't be surprised if we look back on this chart and maybe even this clip of this video and we're like, that's insane how that played out. Thanks for the super chat, Jeremy. I appreciate it. I doubt Sailor's probably punching the buy button right now. Is what he's probably doing. I doubt he's probably punching the walls. I said I'd watch the daily chart on this graph. It's crazy to me to think about. I mean, even buying this fear back here, and then you're seeing 500% gains. And here's that August fear that we were talking about for pretty much all these coins. What else we got going on out there? If you look at, well, I should look at Ethereum. So my biggest thing with Ethereum is, man, look at Ethereum, everybody. Ethereum has broken out of this triangle. But again, I'm sticking to the rules of my analysis that I followed over the years. And for me, it's not that we broke through the lower trend line and we're on our way down to $500, $600, which by the way is the target. Can I ask, like, anybody that's paying attention to crypto right now, you see like Eric Trump and his, World Liberty Financial, for instance, just absolutely buying all of the dips, stacking up Ethereum like crazy. Like, do you think Ethereum's going to just go down to like $500, $600 right now? I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. I have so much trouble believing that. And I'm trying not to be, biased in my analysis, because the rule for me is I like to wait for pullbacks in this scenario. Like, if we broke to the upside, I'd be talking about a throwback. You all know I would. It's exactly what we've been talking about on Bitcoin for months. Like, really from back here, the potential for the throwback to the neckline. So that's exactly what I'm talking about here for Ethereum, which is the inverse of that. It's an inverse. It's a pullback to the trend line, the lower trend line. But imagine if that happens. And this is the thing about it. All we can do is imagine and speculate right now, because nobody knows what's going to happen. I have no idea. But I'm following the rules. And if Ethereum breaks up here, it is going to be an incredible war to watch. Because at that moment, we'll be seeing probably these moving averages. The 20 and the 50 are very confluent around 3,000. But we'll probably be seeing them confluent with the lower trend line. Insane war between the bulls and the bears right here, potentially at like $2,800. Depending on when Ethereum can get there. If it gets there, I don't know. But that's really the move that I'm watching for Ethereum right now. You can see it's testing these swing lows back here. Also, there was a consolidation area back here. This area of price action for Ethereum could actually turn into some type of weekly bounce even. I don't know how the week will end next 2 days, 20 hours. But then maybe we start seeing in next week green candle eating into the red candle, right? And then what's that going to look like on something like a 6-hour chart, right? Then we start maybe seeing a formation of the pullback. That's kind of the story I'm waiting for on Ethereum. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe it just keeps falling. But as of right now, if it keeps falling, there is no, let me see, no daily support, no weekly support. There's no moving average supports. It's going into capitulation price discovery. You know what is crazy too is I saw a post. This is like, they were saying basically, man, this is the first bull market where, think about this. This is the first bull market where high fear has marked the top. So basically, like, this is the, and truly from my perspective, this is the first bull market where all of the, you know, the bears in my comments, like they're literally, they're like calling the top. They called the top. They called the end of the bull market. That's the first time it's ever happened. I think it's an interesting perspective on things. Yeah, we call this inverse price discovery is what we call it. Let me say something. I just want to interject something. None of us know what will happen. You all know my sentiment. You know that I'm bullish. Yes, you do. But you look at an ADA chart, and I think this is a good like exercise. Take profit exercise. Here's Cardano, for instance. One thing that I do know is there are people that are like, I'll tell you what. There are people that were maybe accumulating back here, 32 cents, maybe even you accumulated back here, 24 cents. And then we had this just phenomenal November, if you remember, and ADA is up like 300 some percent. There are people right now that are just like, why didn't I sell? Or not sell, but like, why didn't I take some profit? 300% gains. What am I doing? I know there's people out there that are thinking that. So remember that. Remember this feeling that you have right now. This was helpful for me, I think, in the last bull market. Because that feeling, remember it. Because if Cardano bounces, crypto bounces, maybe we go lower. I don't know how this will play out. But if we get new highs and even all-time highs, remember the feeling that you have right now, kicking yourself. And even so, I'll take it a step further. I encourage you all to sit back. If you're just like, I'm long, I'm investing in crypto, even past this cycle, like, I hope we have a great bull cycle. I want to take profits. If you're that person, you're just here, even right now in the fear of it, put together a spreadsheet. If you don't have a profit-taking plan, just put one together so that if we do get to $1.50, $3, $5, $6, do you have some type of plan? And the same goes for Ethereum. If you're an Ethereum holder, put together a plan. If we get out of this mess that we're in right now, remember the moment of how you feel right now, kicking yourself for not taking profits or whatever. Remember how you feel, but right now in the fear, be productive. Put together a plan. What's it look like at 4,000 for you? 6,000. Hey, we're going crazy, 10,000, right? What does it look like? And that's something actually we're working on. I want to have some tools for everybody to be able to do that, even in an interactive charting way. So it's something that we're trying to build, and I'm very excited about that with Crypto Capital Venture Intelligence. I do want to bring up, as I'm talking, obviously, are we still cruising down? We crashing? Come on, bring it on. Bring it on, baby. Don't wait until I'm done live streaming and crash. Just crash while I'm doing a live stream. Here's ADA. Crash. I'm shorting it. That's people were messing around in the Discord. And by the way, this was a good comment. This is in the Discord. I think there's a link in the description. Everybody, if you're not in the Discord, get in there. We're at 1,148 people in less than a day. But it all comes down to conviction, says Plutus. When your conviction is strong, price fluctuations become noise, and dips are just opportunities. You recognize that volatility in both directions can work in your favor. You can't access the crazy highs without the bumpy ride. This is what I'm talking about, everybody. You go on that Discord and people are they're locked in. They're focused. Plutus knows what's up. And so I brought that up because Plutus and others were kind of joking, like, make sure when I'm doing a live stream that I mention that I'm shorting. Because if I mention everything's short and going to zero, maybe the markets will pump. It's kind of just like a little bit of a joke. Right, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I really don't. I'm not just saying that. I really have no idea what I'm talking about. I literally have no idea. Thank you, Richard, for cruising through. That's right. The CME gap is a big topic of conversation as always. Where was the CME? Wasn't the CME gap already hit, or was it like 70s, lower 70s, 74? What is everything doing? I haven't actually gone through and looked at. Obviously, we did Ethereum, we did ADA, we did some graph. What else is going on out there? Like, what is happening? I wanted to look at. Wow, dude, look at dog. That's crazy. Dog is just hanging out. Dog is kind of like, and by the way, everybody, dog is like one of my top holds besides ADA. Dog is actually dog is like my top hold besides ADA right now. Dog's like, come on, we bottomed. I'm just waiting for the bounce. I'm ready. I mean, that would be too good if it's just that beautiful, but it's holding up very strong. Point being, dog is. Wanted to look at what else we got here. Algo is below the 200. Algo down 60-some%. Somebody said 70K is literally guaranteed. One day the table will turn and Dan will be laughing at the bears. Nah. Seriously though, we shouldn't have that attitude. Like the whole told you so. We shouldn't have that attitude. What I would love, and I was kind of like, I was attempting to do it, I think in the live stream earlier, was like, I just wish the bears would just like close your mouth for a second and just look at the data. Or just zoom out and have a longer term approach. And really that's because I really think zoomed in and trading and trying to like time stuff, it stresses me out, man. Like I'm not, that's not my style. That's why I have to be zoomed out. That has to be my approach, a multi-cycle approach. Obviously take profits in bull markets and stuff, but I don't sit here as a trader at all. I'm a macro person, and that's why all the on-chain data, all that stuff is so helpful. It's so much more helpful for macro value investors. That's why I'm always talking about that stuff. It's not as helpful for like swing traders that are just like trying to, time stuff. It's crazy. So that's algo. I wanted to look at XRP. Isn't it amazing how quick things change? And I know this swing high was actually in January. So this was like over a month ago, mid-January. But just look how much things changed in just over a month. We have this chart down, XRP from swing high, 40%. All things considered, XRP holding up pretty good, right? Not even, on the daily chart, the 200-day moving average down here around $1.50. Obviously a target if altcoins are still going to continue getting wrecked, but XRP has some incredibly bullish zoomed out fundamentals. And so let's see how it interacts. First area of support is actually, we can translate it. It's on a weekly, but we can translate it to a short term. It's like $1.95. Right now we're at 203. How will this weekly candle close? So interesting with Bitcoin and altcoins, right? The dynamic here. XRP for the week. What's happening at that 20-week moving average? Go to Bitcoin for the week. What is happening at that 50-week moving average? That's a key one. $74,000. There's a lot of talk of the lower 70s. So we will have achieved the neckline, obviously, of the massive inverse head and shoulders. So let's kind of speculate something real quick with Bitcoin. We achieved the neckline revisit, the throwback. And then if we do hit the lower 70s this week, next week, I don't know. What will the candle, the weekly candle, how will it close? What will there be a wick going through it with a bounce above? That could be so interesting. Kind of happened back here, but a very crucial area for, it's going to be a very crucial area for a lot of people talking about that 50-week moving average around 74,000. Smart money, loading up the coins. It is for real. Large investors are accumulating while retail is panic selling. I was spending a little time on this earlier in the live stream. I know we have kind of a lot more people here now, but like, can you imagine this chart? This is literally what's happening before our eyes. And you know what? Large investors might not even know what's going to happen next, but you can tell they're bullish. You really can tell they're bullish. They're literally scooping up coins from retail. All the people that are calling for the beginning of the bear market. Large investors like never before, it seems. Appreciate the super chat. Really appreciate it. Why, man, we're crashing and y'all are just super chatting it up. I thank you for the super chat. I think I'm going to have to turn the super chats off soon, though. I'm with you, Dan. Ada, dog. That's right. Ada and dog. This is such an unpopular thing to say. You're crazy, Aristotle. You're crazy, Aristotle Ponder. It's absolutely bonkers to say that right now when we're crashing. You can't do it. Don't you dare. I wouldn't even fathom putting that in a title or on my thumbnail right now. Super cycle. You crazy. You're crazy. But I agree. I agree. That's what's crazy about it is that could be what's happening right now. And this could be exactly why institutions are buying. We looked at this others chart. We looked at the total crypto market cap chart. Not this one, but this one. And it's insane to just think of the different structure that we're having this cycle. And if this is just, we're just going to get these like prolonged dips and this pain. Here's what I would just really enjoy. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't play out this way. Maybe we break the lower trend line. Prepare for it. I say it all the time, prepare for zero. But I would just really enjoy huge breakout. Oh man, bear market's here. Here's that August, summer 2024, similar fear environment that we're in right now. But bear market's here. No, bull market's back. Here we are again. Bear market's here. Maybe we go lower. And then, bull market's back. Here we go. And it's like this continued story would be so interesting for a super cycle as we just see manipulation and just a complete redistribution of crypto to like smart money that's just buying for the long term. That would be so interesting. I'm very curious to see how this long-term chart plays out. Trump knows what he's doing. This is the art of the deal. He wants the boys to win big. It's not, it really is true. Everything Trump is doing is, it's very good for America. It's absolutely short-term pain and markets are reacting to it. And you just got to let it do it, but short-term pain for long-term gain. And I think that gain is going to just pivot to crypto very well. So I wanted to look at Bitcoin dominance, still literally not doing anything as I do this video. Got to keep an eye on that. Got to keep an eye on that. I think I saw somewhere liquidation. I think shorts to the upside could get liquidated. Like 88, like the upper 80s, I think was like a trigger zone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, man. Bitcoin hits 100-day low and Dan comes on talking about super cycles. Dude, can't help it. What is Dogecoin doing? How's Doge holding up? Look at that. I mean, it's a 4-hour chart, right? But like, you know what's so incredible to me? I'm sorry, this is dog. Let me go to dog. Let me go to Doge. Thought that looked a lot like dog. Like, man, these dogs. You know what's so incredible to me about the Doge chart is like, here's December 2024. Really in December, we're really like starting to see like, dude, Department of Government Efficiency, I think, coming into play, right? And think how like crazy bullish that sounds for Doge. And Doge is down 60%. Nothing is safe when the bears step in. Literally nothing is safe. You have Doge literally within like the government of the United States as a thing. Even the logo is like a dog that I see posted a lot. Somebody said it's denial stage. Huh. I don't feel in denial at all. The reason I'm not in denial is because if crypto continues down and support fails, you have to realize something. Let me just paint a picture. Let's just say, right? Because the way in which I make my decisions actually always is, what if it all fails? It's always how I do it. In every video, I'm not like tracking every downside scenario all the time, but you all know my approach is anticipate everything, expect nothing. So I don't expect that there's definitely going to be a bull market at any given time. I'm absolutely anticipating a continuation, but at the same time, I'm anticipating the worst, right? What if Bitcoin just capitulates to the 200-week moving average? I don't sit here doing videos about it because there's things that need to happen first, like revisiting this neckline of the inverse head and shoulders. But what if that happens? I'm still going to be sitting here doing videos on crypto. And you better believe if smart money is loading up and governments are starting to load up and institutions are loading up Bitcoin right here, what in the world do you think is going to happen here at 50,000? And just say, and this is a visualization of my mind with crypto, just say that happens. If you zoom out on that chart in the environment in which we are in on a global scale for Bitcoin and hyper Bitcoinization, can you please explain to me what's bearish about that? So that mindset, I think, drives people crazy that I can be such a permeable, but that's just the way that I'm looking at these markets. And it's really not has changed since back here at these lows, or even at the bull market high back here when I started really doing the videos, going into the bear market. That's my thought about this space. And in terms of the people that I think my videos are best for, it's those people that kind of have that similar sense. I don't think for short-term people and short-term traders, my content is very, very good for you at all. Even though I cover the short term, but weird how all these states, countries, and institutions are pro-crypto and the price plummets, almost like they want the best possible entry point before this thing takes off. Yep. And you know what? At the end of the day, maybe this isn't even low enough for them. And maybe we are absolutely going to just get destroyed. I don't know. Always be ready for that, obviously. But for me, kind of like stepping stones. I don't like to get ahead of myself. I'm not going to just like latch on to that thesis and just call for a bear market because of it, right? Everybody, the institutions, the big money, the big players, they don't want to get in. They don't want to be late. They're bringing it down to 50,000, 45,000. Bear market starting. I don't want to just base my entire thesis. And if a bear market started and it repeated, it would probably fall below the 200-week moving average. We'd probably dip into the 30s. So all you bears that are dreaming of this move, this is where you'd want to accumulate if it happens. Or we get the bounce soon, and then you can buy $125,000. Either way, there are your entry points. So I think we went over a good amount of cryptos. And Ethereum really needs that bounce. I'm rooting for Ethereum. I really am, because it would just be great for coins like what we covered Graph for Jeremy. It would just be great. Those coins would just absolutely go crazy if Ethereum can get out of this mess. So much accumulation happening at these levels. Love you too. Love you too, buddy. Goal complete. We hit the goal right there. 10,000 people as crypto crashes. That's what I'm talking about. And I know most of you are just so locked in, and I really want to see everybody win in this space. It's a bummer when we're crashing. It always is. I mean, you go to any chart on Bitcoin, every time we're in these scenarios, how many videos have we done? These red candles, even in the middle of bull markets, they're just painful, and we're in it right now. But we just have to lock in and just, focus on the data. The two pillars I would say that I have to absolutely start talking about in my videos somehow is risk management. Like always reminding ourselves not to spend more than we can afford to lose, not invest more than we can afford to lose, and a take profit plan for the fun times, for the very parabolic green candles that we see. I think those are two things that are very good to focus on, and just really getting rid of emotion, everybody. It's the best possible thing to do. So interestingly enough, as I do this video, Bitcoin, and I kind of wanted it to hit this line, this inverse head and shoulders neckline. It's pretty much there, but really just kind of eating below 79 would be kind of hitting that area. And maybe it will after I get off this live stream, but so close for the completion of that. And how crazy, everybody. How crazy. I mean, this is literally it. That's the move. That throwback. It's happening. I don't like it, but it blows my mind, like technical analysis, how it can absolutely just prepare you, right? And that's, I think, for me, why it's valuable. Back here doing this video, and it's December, we have no idea if it's going to happen, but just visualizing it so that now in the moment it's happening and we're like, okay, it really is actually a normal move. And even the time frame of it, because I think one thing we understood even when doing that video was like, we got the breakout, we can talk about the throwback, but it's likely not going to happen so fast because the size of this pattern, this beginning of the neckline really is 2021. It is 2025 right now. That's how long of a pattern this is. So the throwback took months, which I would say is very normal. Could have taken longer, really. We should be grateful we're testing these areas now. And really, from a fear perspective, we're kind of more here if we're going to compare this consolidation to this consolidation. So really, the dip of it all seems like it's actually happening sooner than later, which is great. So that's that. Everybody, do me a favor. I'm going to do my best not to shill this too much, but I'm very excited about everything we're working on. I'm very excited about everything we're working on. Go, even if you're not interested in the crypto capital intelligence platform, data platform we're building, the dashboard and everything, go join the community. We're going to have a free section of the community. It's open now. I opened it early because just the sentiment's crazy. I just thought it'd be a cool place to gather people. So I put a link in the description. Go join the Discord, hang out with us. And even in there right now, it's like I don't know what people are talking about, but people seem chill. If you're a chill person, go chill with us. But yeah, a lot of cool things happening. So let's see how this plays out. Short term, if we get like overnight capitulation for Bitcoin even lower to the, I mean, it's so in play, right? 75 all of a sudden, 50-week moving average being tested. Let's just see what happens there. And then during that move, instead of looking at each altcoin one by one, I guess the biggest thing to look for would be, what is Bitcoin dominance doing in a move like that? Is it just kind of cruising to the upside or to the downside? I think that's probably the best two things to watch tonight. Even if you're just an altcoin holder, I think those are the two most valuable things. So appreciate you cruising through, everybody. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, turn notifications on, and we got 10,000 people. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Smash the like button on the way out. That support means a ton, especially during these cloudy days. So I'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome day. God bless.